Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today. I'm your host, Neil Howard, here on Health Professional Radio. Our guests today are Dr. Jonathan Michael Shen, Chief of Pediatric Cardiovascular Surgery and Co-Director of the Seattle Children's Heart Center, and Richard Olson, Divisional Vice President of Product Development for Abbott Structural Heart. And they're joining us here on the program to talk about the newly FDA-approved mechanical heart valve. Thank you both for joining us today. Let's jump right in. Give us a little bit of background about yourself, Dr. Shen.
I'm one of the co-directors, as you said, of the Heart Center at Seattle Children's. I'm a congenital cardiac surgeon and the chief of the congenital group at both the University of Washington and Seattle Children's.
And Mr. Olson, yourself, other than divisional vice president there at Abbott?
Yeah, I've been with Abbott for 8 years, focusing primarily on the structural heart business, and so that's mainly our valvular technologies, as well as products that we have that treat congenital defects as well. And I head up the product development group, or a lot of people refer to as R&D as well.
Now, this newly approved heart valve, I said it is the smallest of its kind.
Today, it is the world's smallest mechanical heart valve that's available, and additionally has a pediatric indication. But please, Dr. Shen, fill in the gaps from your perspective.
No, I was just going to say it is the smallest in terms of designated for children. There are other valves you can use, but you're really kind of jury-rigging them. You can take a valve out of conduit that's not meant to be taken out of that and use them, but it's not recommended. This is the first one that is this small where the indication is for pediatric application.
What about when a problem arises? Is this something that can easily be addressed based on its size, as opposed to using, as you said, kind of jerry-rigged valves in the past in pediatrics?
So there are sort of two aspects of a mechanical valve prosthesis for kids. One is there are some kids for whom we know before we do an operation on their mitral valve, in this case, that the valve itself does not have the integrity to withstand really a very viable repair, in which case we are going in specifically with the notion that we're going to replace the valve. That is a very straightforward operation, but you need to have a valve that's the right size, meaning small enough for infants. The other indication, which is probably its more broad impact on our field, is that there are lots of times that we'll intend to do high risk or unpredictable mitral valve repairs in newborns and infants. And if we have a reasonable amount of uncertainty about how the valve repair will go, we often will not undertake them until the baby's big enough to have a backup, meaning that we know that should all things not go the right way and the valve repair is not adequate, that we can back up and replace the valve. And currently, we wouldn't undertake these kind of high-risk repairs unless we knew we had that backup. And so without having a valve small enough, like the 15-millimeter master's valve, we wouldn't even undertake a valve repair. So then kids will be sitting around in the ICU waiting to get their, going to get big enough for a bigger prosthesis. So that impact, I think, is going to be pretty significant on our population.
How many kids would you say, on average, are going to benefit from this new valve? Are we talking a small amount, or is this something that is going to benefit so many children that it's going to make a huge impact on this type of surgery overall?
Well, I think it's a little hard. I don't mean to be evasive. It's a little hard to estimate. I mean, there's certainly that first camp of kids who need valve replacements just out of the gates. That number it's modest. It's not a huge epidemiologic impact. But there are two other sort of moving parts to the denominator. One is what I was talking about, which are kids for whom we would not currently undertake, or previously undertake a high-risk repair, where now we would do that, and some subset of them will end up with a valve replacement for sure. And the other moving part of the denominator is that if you compare the sort of cohort of kids who we're operating on today versus those we operated on even, say, 15 years ago, the kids today, the newborns in particular, tend to have more complex heart disease and tend to be smaller than the ones we were operating on 15 years ago. And that's really just the advancement of technology and better newborn care to get the kids through where sometimes they wouldn't survive in the past. And in particular, we see more and more kids these days who have what we'd say is borderline valve sizes, both the mitral valve and the aortic valve and all the other valves in the heart. And so increasingly, I think we'll see that we're going to be in a situation where we need to address mitral valve problems in kids who are small. And so that impact is going to be pretty significant.
You know, from our perspective, and Dr. Chen already hit on it, this isn't a high-volume product for us by any case. From our early estimates, and things are very variable, but we're talking about maybe 200 cases a year where they might use the 15 millimeter. It's more about providing the access to a device of which, we already had the technology from an adult perspective, and really scaling it so that we can apply it for, the children and even infants in this case, to have this technology available to them, which really can be life-saving and get them, past the first few years and give them a chance at making it to adulthood.
Now, this is the Masters HP 15 millimeter rotatable mechanical heart valve. Where can we go online and learn some more about this?
You can go online to Abbott.com and search for mechanical heart valves, and this will show up within the website.
Well, I thank both of you for chatting with us today, Dr. Shen and Richard Olson. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you, Neil.
All right, thank you. All right, you've been listening to Health Professional Radio. Transcripts and audio of the program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.